Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday, live from Middleburg, Florida. Boy, it's hot here. It's August the 10th, 2021, and tonight my topic is Rome, Italy, with a little extra spice thrown in as well from my travels. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate you signing in. It's nice to be back home and to get back and kind of get adjusted to the work at hand here, get back in the office, do a little catch up, mowing the yard and everything out here. So it's very nice to be home. And thank you guys for tuning in here. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple of weeks as well. I had a really great time putting together last week's Travel Talk Tuesday from Dublin, Ireland. That was live, I mean, within 2 days of when I shot it. So I hope you enjoyed that. We experienced wonderful temperatures there. It was like from 56 degrees Fahrenheit up to like 62 or 3. And that was the whole range of everything there. So because I was just in Dublin and just in Ireland, I want to share just a little tad about what I did there. Let's see if I can get that out of the way. So here's a map of Europe, and we're going to talk about Italy right here tonight, but Ireland is way up here. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting because if we talk about history and the spread of Christianity, we know that in Rome, where we're visiting today, and we're actually going to talk about the Vatican and St. Peter's Basilica and everything else, that Peter came to Rome. He was the first missionary to Rome, and the gospel of Christ spread across to the uttermost parts of the world. And before that, the Romans kind of conquered most of Europe, but they never got to this island of Ireland. The Romans called it Hibernia, or the land of winter. So they never even crossed the Irish Sea to go there. They did go as far as what we might know as the border between what we now know as England and Scotland, because the Emperor Hadrian built a wall there to keep out the, to keep out all the Celtic people from coming down and invading them. But that all ended up around the middle of the 3rd century. And so Ireland was never conquered by the Romans, but missionaries did show up in Ireland and started spreading the news of Christ in 432 with the first missionary there in Ireland, we all know, as St. Patrick. He wasn't a saint then, but he became a saint later on in his life. So I'm going to share with you just a couple of minutes of what I did with a group that I was helping out. There's a husband and wife team that I've known for years. A former band director friend of mine named Corey Black and his wife April. They own a company in St. Augustine called Greenlight Group Tours, and they offer student tours all over the United States and other parts of Europe and the world as well. Do a fantastic job, and many of my band director friends are still using them as student tours to go to Gatlinburg or Chicago or Washington, D.C., New York, and all of that. And I did the same when I was a band director as well. But I helped out Corey and April with Greenlight Tours last week to help show a band, a horn choir, French horn choir, around parts of Ireland. So let me just run this thing and show you a little bit of what we did, and then we'll get on with the matter at hand for Rome. So we were in Dublin, but we were down here in this very place called the Dingle Peninsula. I hope you can hear this. So we had postponed that trip for over a year. And finally, when we heard that Ireland was opening up, they were all in to go. There were 17 of us on that trip. They were all in to go. They flew over, and I told them, bring your French horns, because hopefully we're going to find some opportunities to perform. We knew that what we had originally scheduled, which were indoor concerts in cathedrals and churches and everything, were not going to be possible because of the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. And so that wasn't allowed, any indoor performances, but we were able to connect with the police and the Gardaí in various places, like in Galway. We performed 3 different times outside, almost like buskers along the walkways. We performed here in the Dingle Peninsula. This is out here on Slayhead Drive, looking at the Blastic Islands. And we performed at Blarney Castle as well. So they had a wonderful time performing, and everything was very, very successful. So we had a great time with that. Okay, so that finishes up what I started last week with my tour in Dublin and my Travel Talk Tuesday from Dublin. The worst thing about being in Ireland was that, number one, we had to wear masks on the tour bus, which was kind of crazy, but it was the rule. And we also had to wear a mask when you were inside with people. But the major thing that really complicated being in Ireland, and really was a kind of a downer, was that there was no traditional Irish music in any of the pubs. So I'm not going to be doing any tours to Ireland. I can just tell you right now, until music in the pubs is back and allowed and in full swing, because that is just like 50% of the experience of being in Ireland. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about Rome. Now, this most of this video was filmed in July of this year, and I was in Rome. Charlotte and I were there for 3 days by ourselves. My family came in, and we had another 2 days. Hey, I've arrived in Rome today. It's July the 1st, and you're not a tourist in sight here. We're in the Trastevere region of town, just across the Tiber River from all the main attractions. Same side of the river as the Vatican is on. But this little town, little neighborhood here in Rome, Trastevere, is my go-to place. We're staying just up the street over my shoulder here, a block or two up. This is our local little bakery and shop, where we get coffee in the morning, we get the aperitivi, our drinks like this in the evening. And so we're looking forward to set up here for 3 days before my family comes over, and we get to do some of the best places in Italy with them. So we're looking forward to that. Gosh, I've been in Athens and Greece for the past 17 days or so, and it's been a great time. We flew across the Adriatic Sea. 2 hours later, we arrived in Rome, and now we're right here in Trastevere. I'll keep you posted on what's going on, but your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. See you soon. Ciao. Now, at first glance, you might not be too impressed with this little village across the Tiber River from the main attractions in Rome, but it really is like a little home neighborhood. And we have just set up here in an apartment for 2 or 3 days. And you see some graffiti and stuff on the walls, but even in these recovery times from COVID-19, it's still pretty alive and active. And you see people walking around having a great time right here at this bar, San Caliste. And so it's just right around in the heart of this little neighborhood. This church is Santa Maria in Trastevere. St. Mary's Church in Trastevere. It's a basilica. This is inside. It was right at 6 o'clock. There was a mass just about to begin, so I popped in, took a photo real quick, and then popped out, and I will show another view of it the following morning as well. As you can see, very ornate, dates from 1140. Hey, David McGuffin here. We've flown today from Athens to Rome, 2 hours over the Adriatic Sea. We arrived here and we're in the little neighborhood of Rome across the Tiber River from the very central core of Rome called Trastevere. And this Enoteca, this place, the little restaurant and wine bar that we're at is Enoteca Trastevere. And we've had an appetizer. It doesn't do justice. I'll show you some photos as well. We have focaccia bread. And then we have a homemade ricotta cheese, fantastic, along with the toasted bread, which we know in Italian is bruschetta. And we've also ordered a great wine from up in the northern region called Barolo. And this is a Barolo 2016. And that's from my Italian friends are gonna kill me because it's not Piedmont. I'll stop it. So I had a little bit of Barolo already, and it is from Piedmonte, and I knew that. I just could not get it out. As a matter of fact, I got a bottle over here I'm gonna crack open in just a minute as well. I don't think, but it's a really good wine and a great vintage. We're drinking that here. In Rome, they don't really chill their wine at all in a cellar, so it's sitting on the shelves back here. So we've had to put it in a little ice bucket to get it down to cellar temperature, but it's really good. And now we're going to have some typical pasta from in Rome. So we're having a cacio e pepe, which is a traditional Roman antipasta or pasta, and we're also having a matriciana, and so we'll share that with you as well. Okay, your adventure starts here from Rome with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. So let me stop it here for just a second. I'm gonna come back full screen, I hope. Actually going to prepare tonight that second dish you saw, which is not cacio e pepe, which is basically bucatini pasta with pecorino cheese, sheep cheese, and that's really all there is. But I'm going to prepare the dish, which is going to have rigatoni as the basic pasta, but the sauce is a tomato sauce with guanciale, which is a fried pork cheek. We don't have guanciale here in Middleburg, Florida, so we're having pancetta, which is the closest thing to come with it, and a little pecorino cheese, sheep cheese, and it's called a matriciana. And so I've got the ingredients back over here, and in a bit, I'm going to find, as soon as my water starts boiling back here, I'm going to see if I can get Leslie to grab the camera and show you a little bit about how I'm going to prepare it, because it comes together very quickly. Also, would you give me that Barolo wine right there, please, Leslie? So it's not exactly the same one that I had, but this one is Kirkland's signature Barolo, and so Costco, and it's really good. And this is 2016, which is one of the best vintages from Italy. And so we're going to try that tonight as well and see what this tastes like. We just discovered that a week or so ago in Costco, but it's inexpensive, like $20. So I think it's going to be pretty good. All right, let me run on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the same neighborhood, Trastevere, but Charlotte and I walked around the next morning, and it's a short walk from there. We just strolled for about an hour looking at everything, and it's a short walk from there to Vatican City. So there's a map, my Best of Italy tour, and we're right down here in the center of the peninsula in Rome. And I'm checking my notes, what's coming up next after this map. So walking through Trastevere in the morning. I am running, correct? Doesn't look like I am. There we go. Walking through Trastevere this morning and the Via Lungaretta. Just one block over from the Tiber River. Normally this place is crowded with people. It's along about 10 o'clock in the morning or so. Everybody's setting up for the day, but not much activity here. The same church, Santa Maria in Trastevere, is one of the 5 basilicas in Rome. And you hear it dinging the hours. It's 10:45. So 10 dings and 3 pings signals 10:45. Inside the church now, I was in there with no mass going on. So no mass, not mask, no mass going on. But you can see this dates from the Middle Ages, from around the 10th century. It's a beautifully decorated with a wonderful dome here as well. It was a peaceful walk until the police and ambulance came by. This is along the Tiber River, heading from Trastevere, heading upriver from Trastevere to San Pietro, or the Vatican City, St. Peter's Cathedral. A nice little pleasant walk. Very quiet, calm, shady. Not too much traffic on the streets. And the Tiber River just off to our... So you notice there's not many people around walking, and not only because of COVID-19 and the post-pandemic, and there being no tourists there, but this is really a quiet little neighborhood in Rome. And we're just across the river from the former Jewish ghetto, and from all of the historic downtown center like the Pantheon, the Forum, and the Colosseum, and all of that. But it's just very, very quiet, and that's why, and peaceful. So that's why we love being here. So it was nice for Charlotte and I just to kind of take this stroll. And we're coming up here now. This is a castle dating back to the 800s called Castello San Angelo, and it is a fortress built on the Tiber River. But it's back in the day in the Middle Ages. It was also used as a fortress for the various popes who were ruling there in the Vatican City. And should there be invaders coming in, this would be their fortress. They would go to be protected. There's a covered walkway all the way to the papal apartments over in Vatican City as well. The next scene's at an intersection. I just had to show it because it's just a wild motor race every time the light turns green. So right behind me here is St. Peter's Cathedral. Down this main street, which is now blocked off to traffic, called Via Conciliazione. Hey, David McGuffin here. We're in Piazza San Pietro, or St. Peter's Square here in Rome, July the 2nd. So just kind of traveling post-COVID here and trying to see what's going on. As you can tell, this square is pretty much empty. Gosh, it's kind of eerie walking up here and not many tourists, no tour buses, no huge groups, no nothing. So we're going to try to get inside and see what it takes. It doesn't look like there's much of a queue over here to get inside the basilica, but we're going to try that out. Just wanted to show you around a little bit in the Vatican City here in Rome. Let's go inside and take a look around. before I do that, I got all this, I'm home, so I was able to cook and everything or prepare. So my antipasti, my pre-dinner here we go, is Prosciutto De Parma. And it's actually, I got it, it says it's from Parma, which is in Italy, and Melone de Publix, the grocery store. And so this is a typical dish in Rome that you would have. The melon isn't all that great, but the prosciutto is really good. So that pairs together the complement between the sweet melon and the salty prosciutto is pretty good. And we also have, we're nibbling on some cheese, and I don't need to show that, I don't think, but it's a Parmesan cheese and salami that's readily available here, also from Publix supermarket, but it's always a pretty authentic type of appetizer antipasti that we can get. Okay, back to sharing that screen again. And we're going inside the Vatican, or inside St. Peter's Cathedral. Now, this is unusual because there's only, what do we see? Maybe 20 people around this statue that Michelangelo created in 1499, and it is called the Pieta. And the Pieta is Mary holding her dead son, Jesus Christ, in her lap right after he was taken down from the cross. And Michelangelo was only 21 years old there when he created that, and it's just one of the most fantastic works of art in all of Christendom. And so then from the Pieta, we just turn, I'm looking right now, down the main nave of St. Peter's Cathedral, and it's 200 yards, 2 football fields from here to the very end. And it's just amazing because it's overwhelming. That altar there, that bronze altar built by Bernini in the middle 1500s, is 7 stories high. So you just think about a 7-story building there, sitting in there. It's pretty amazing. This is a statue of Peter. It's many people think it comes from the 5th century AD, and Peter's holding the keys to the kingdom, blessing the people, and there's a right toe that you can usually get to, and people like to either touch it or kiss it and ask a blessing. Again, the Bernini altar there, made of bronze, the bronze taken from the Pantheon, which was further on into the ancient city of Rome, a Roman pagan chapel for all gods. And then looking up to the dome is, I think, 442 feet from floor to ceiling, and just massive. Those letters that you see written in Latin are 7 feet high. And these guys are the Swiss guards outside of St. Peter's Basilica, and they are sworn to guard the Pope from dating back from the early 1500s. And so they are not only decorative, dressed in their Renaissance costumes and holding Renaissance era weapons, but they're also a modern police force behind the scenes with machine guns and pistols and all of that kind of stuff. But their job is to protect the Pope and protect Vatican City.
He's waiting for us where we came in.
With cold bottles of water.
So this is outside, again, looking at the facade of St. Peter's Basilica, looking at that beautiful dome back there. The dome actually was designed and constructed and finished by Michelangelo. And Michelangelo has a very important role in everything in Vatican City, from the Sistine Chapel to to a lot of the statues that are there and also to this dome. And the Pope commissioned him when he was like 71 years old, I think. He said, come back here and you have to finish up this church, this basilica, because there's no dome on it. And we want a dome similar to the one that's in Florence. And Michelangelo said, I can build you a dome, and I'll build it a little bit larger than the dome in Florence and a little bit wider and taller than the dome of Florence, but it will never be as beautiful as the Brunelleschi's dome there in Florence. But you can attribute this dome to Michelangelo. There's also this big facade, or this big arcade here in St. Peter's Square as well. That is totally in proportion, and there's a point that you can stand in the middle and you can look, and there's rows of 4 different columns that all line up, and it's just an amazing feat of geometry, which I'm not any good at, but someone did a good job even back in the day to do that. So this is Piazza San Pietro or St. Peter's Square. Now we're going into the Vatican Museum here. I wish I had some photos from that I have put some in from previous years, because if you were looking at this in normal times, pre-COVID-19 and pre-pandemic, there would be nothing, you would see nothing but people. And then around that corner to the left and stretching back for at least 400 yards would be a line of people waiting to get in. We're here with my family, Brian and Lori and grandkids, and Lori's parents, Ralph and Doris, just kind of waiting to go in. They're waiting on me to finish taking a photo. This is inside the lobby after security. Again, it would be shoulder to shoulder. That is, it's just floors me. Unbelievable even to look at it now. This is outside in one of the first courtyard you get to. It's called the Courtyard of the Pine Cones, at least in English. And so a beautiful look at it. And this is one of the many hallways you walk down to the Vatican Museum that would be full of people, views across the city of Rome from some of the windows in the Vatican Museum. This is a famous Greek statue dating from the 5th century. That is a mythological figure. Gosh, wait a minute. I got to look at it. Laocoon. And it's a mythological feature, and his sons. And it relates to the war with the Trojan horse. And so in Troy, Laocoon was there, and Athena and another god sent these snakes to bind Laocoon and his sons so he could not warn those people in Troy about the danger of the Trojan horse. Long story short is that one of those survivors from that breach of Troy ended up coming to Rome. I think his name was Aeneas, and he really founded Rome. You know, there's a legend about Romulus and Remus, but Aeneas really founded Rome back in the day as well. So there's a connection with this statue to that as well. This is a Belvedere torso. It is a Greek torso, and many people, many famous artists and sculptors have looked at this and admired this because it is so vivid with all the muscular detail, and also with the way in which it's juxtaposed with the torso turning like this and the waist being here, just a classic pose from now on. So you look at anybody in a photo nowadays, and you always see them turning their hips to you and their shoulders away. And so this is Belvedere torso, and Michelangelo especially used that for many of his statues. If you go look at the slaves in Florence, or you look at even in the Sistine Chapel, there's a fresco of Jonah and the great whale. And Jonah is almost an exact fresco replication of this Belvedere torso. That's probably more than you ever wanted to know about the Belvedere torso, but it's there and nobody's around it. I just found it so fascinating. This is
That was a hard
tombs
reset.
built for sarcophagi, built for Constantine and his mother Helena. This is a fresco, a mosaic on the floor of Athena. And this is Lily and I, my granddaughter, walking down this hallway without anybody in it, with all these statues and coffer roofs and ceilings. There's Brian. We're in the tapestry room. This didn't turn out so great, but this is a tapestry of depicting Jesus as he arises from the grave. And if you look at him, his eyes follow you the entire time, no matter what angle you're at.
Jesus' eyes are looking right at
And this is a room of maps. Again, if you were here at any other time, and I think I got some video later on, that this thing is shoulder to shoulder. And here, there's nobody there. This is the Raphael in his rooms from the Papal Palace. And this is called the School of Athens, a very famous painting by Raphael. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in front of you. Normally you can't get close to it at all. Raphael depicted the School of Athens and depicted many different people, like pointing out Plato, who is depicted is the depiction of Leonardo da Vinci, and then Raphael over here is a self-portrait down there, the little guy in the little turban hat as well. And this is a staircase leading outside of the Vatican Museum, which normally isn't in use, but it's wide open. And it's designed to have people exit one way.
You know what we've left out? The second day, we have to do the Vatican Museum and St. Peter's Cathedral. That pretty much.
I'm going to stop it here for just a second because we're getting kind of near the end of what I'm talking about. But I wanted to check my notes real quick. Yeah, I got that. I wanted to kind of mention to you a little bit about how we're going to make this dish called amatriciana. And so let's try this, Leslie, if maybe I can, let's see what I can do. Hang on a second. Water boiling for the pasta. I'm going to use rigatoni. So that's not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And then the next thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to add this pancetta in there. And the pancetta is going to fry in the pan in some olive oil. In Rome, I mentioned to you, it would be guanciale is the name of the Italian name of the cheek of a pig. And then put a little my homemade tomato sauce, which is basically just tomatoes and onions. And then finally sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on that. And I kind of messed up because I don't have any pasta cooking, so I really can't finish this dish, but I'm going to do the first part of it and then just tell you what we're going to do. Let me get this pasta in there. So over here, I've got that going. I'll put a little olive oil in there. Get the fork going. Let it go a little bit. Okay, I'm picking up from this menu. It's called amatriciana, and it's a typical Roman dish. What I've done previously, which I did on Travel Talk Tuesday, is I sauteed some pancetta, which is pork fat. In Rome, they call it guanciale, and it's a pork cheek. And then I put in my tomato sauce, and then the only other thing you have to do is just we're adding rigatoni pasta into it. We're going to incorporate that together. And then, so let me get that out. If I would have prepared ahead of time, I would have had it in a strainer, but I didn't have that. And having a little pasta water is not a bad thing because it adds a little starch, more starch to it as well. Is that enough for 2 people? Okay. So we incorporate that together. It comes together very quickly. And this is pecorino cheese. This is that's sheep cheese. We'll put a little bit of that on top of it. And that's the dish. I'm cooking it here at a wok because everything comes together and heats equally on the sides. And then you just season it with a little salt and pepper, maybe a piece of basil, and we're good to go. Okay, bon appetito. We shot this in 2014 in the Vatican Museum, so you can see a little.
It takes 2/3 of the day. Today we're in the Vatican Museum, and we fought the crowds to get inside the door, but actually it's not too bad here. We're going the afternoon, 3 o'clock. It's a crowd beating strategy to go through here and see everything, the great works of Michelangelo and some of the sculptures from the Greek and Roman era. So let's go take a look around here at the Vatican Museum. The Romans were very familiar with Greek temples and statuary, so many of them took those statues from the Greek times and copied them. And this is actually a Roman copy done in, I think, the 2nd century AD. At the same time Michelangelo was doing the ceiling, Raphael snuck in there and looked at what Michelangelo was doing and was just like floored at how beautiful it was. And then he was kind of ashamed of the work that he was doing. And he painted this, he did a fresco of this important painting down here called the School of Athens. And so after he had seen Michelangelo's frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, he went in there and put on his fresco Michelangelo in here as well, in honor of him. And this is Michelangelo here, brooding here in the foreground. So since it's relatively calm right here, it's best to talk about the Sistine Chapel ceiling here as opposed to while we're standing in there. It's first of all a fresco, so it's plaster. And then Michelangelo stood and he put pigment into the plaster. So if you kind of divide it up into 3 things, first of all, the central panel down the middle depicts scenes from the Old Testament. And then on the side there's other panels that depict saints and scholars and prophets throughout the Old Testament. And then the triangles are not religious figures, but soothsayers and prophetesses. As you travel along, I think there are many, many opportunities to see and experience things that maybe you've not done before. But there's always these special moments where it's like, wow, you know. Well, we're ending our tour of the Vatican here at St. Peter's Basilica, the biggest Christian church in the world. Such a great place to end the tour here with the Bernini's altar, the tomb of St. Peter underneath at St. Peter's Cathedral. Seeing the interior of St. Peter's Basilica and realizing how insignificant and small you are in that vast basilica, that's a pretty good wow moment. Then we're left with maybe...
Okay, let me stop that. Go back here. Go back to my cooking. So I'm actually cooking in a wok, and it works really well because I'm going to put a lot of pasta in here. So the guanciale, the pancetta, is pretty much fried here. And then I'm just going to put some of my tomato sauce in and get that going. Not a lot, maybe just 2 spoonfuls of it, and let that heat up. And the last step is really simple because once I've got that going, so you see there's not a whole lot of sauce. Once I get that going and incorporate it together, I'm gonna dump the rigatoni pasta in here and then put a little pecorino cheese right on top of it, and it's ready to eat. I got caught up taking care and talking to you guys and forgot to put my pasta in. So I don't know if I'm going to finish that up tonight or not, but you kind of see what it is. I'll take a photo and post it online so you can see, but it's going to taste really good. And so let me run one more thing here. Thank y'all for joining Travel Talk Tuesday. It's nice to be able to be back here for real and to be talking with you. And now the next thing is coming up is the advertisement, because I want you to go on some Christmas markets tours with me in December. And some of you watching, I know, have already done that. You can hear Christmas market tours as well.
We made it to the Castle Neuschwanstein, home of Mad King Ludwig of Bavaria. This castle was built in 1860s. Took about 20 years, a little more than 20 years to complete. And for this time of year, it's in a virtual winter wonderland. Your adventure starts here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
And I think that's it almost for tonight. Thank you guys for joining in. We still do have some tours going on, and especially in Italy in September, beginning the middle part of September. And people are signing up and bailing out, depending on how they feel about COVID-19. And so there's some room there with a villa tour in the first part. I think it's the 12th or 13th of September. And also we have the Best of Italy and Essence of Italy tour beginning that, going through October 5th and 10th. So if you're interested in joining me in Italy, I'm going to be there. I'm pretty much committed to be there, and I think it's going to be a fantastic time to travel. Greece, as you know, is kind of hot as far as temperatures go and on fire. And I have just, although any destinations we go to in Greece are not in that fire zone where things are burning, I've decided that it's just not a good time to go right now. So we're not going to be doing any Greece tours this fall, but they'll be back next spring, and I can guarantee you that the places we visit in Greece are wonderful, and you'll have a great experience there, just like those folks that travel with those 3 tour groups that travel with me back in the first part of June as well. So if you'd like to go in September, get in touch with me. We'll make you a deal, or at least we'll get you there and help you have a great time. We're looking forward to it. I can guarantee it'll be a small groups and fantastic over-the-top experiences with places like visiting the Vatican Museum where there's no tourists there, or going to the Duomo in Florence without any tourists, and all of that kind of stuff. So think about that. Next week, I'm going to continue my series, and we're going to talk about Rome, the other part of Rome, the Roman part of Rome and the Baroque part of Rome. So we'll visit the Colosseum, the Forum, and then that's the Roman part. And then we'll visit the Trevi Fountain, the, a couple of Piazza Navona with some fountains by Bernini, Campo de Fiore, and then the Pantheon is in that area as well, and that's a Roman place. So we'll finish up Rome, or at least talk about Rome a little bit more next week. Well, thank you guys very much. We're going to sign out. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week on Travel Talk Tuesday. Bye-bye.